Hey everybody, this is Sherry with Just One Day Travel Tours. Welcome to this beautiful spring day in early March. I happened to be out at the World War I Museum and I thought I'd do a little video kind of about the museum and how it got started and such. Because a lot of people go, but have been around and you see it all the time, but you might not have been to this museum. And even if you had, did you look up all the details? So here we go. So the World War I Tower was dedicated, it's also was originally called the Liberty Memorial, was dedicated right after World War I, a year after it, so 1919. And it was dedicated when they did the thing, everybody pitched in, all of Kansas City pitched in, and they raised $2.1 billion in 10 days. So that's like the equivalent of 35 billion today. I don't know, do the math. But it was raised in 10 days in 1919. So they did that, they built the building, and once it was open, they had 150,000 people show up for the dedication, and it was done by President Calvin Coolidge, which is kind of cool. Right? And then, so the first part was the tower, and then the two buildings on the left. And I'll give a little shout out to Kansas City Fun Tours, because they do a good job. If you want a quick trolley tour, they do one that's entertaining and whatnot too. So the Sphinx on either side are Assyrian Sphinx. One is shielding its eyes from the future horrors of the world, shielding its eyes from the future. The other one is shielding its eyes from the terrors of war. So interesting tidbit. And then the four statues up on top are faith, hope, courage, and patriotism. And then the Eternal Flame was put in 1929, I believe. And it is currently still there. It's up. It lights up at night. It's LED now. It's not a flame, but it is still up there. And it's the spirit of goodness. I had it for a second. I'll come back around to it. Anyway, so dedicated the land, built the building, and then in 1998, they had so many artifacts that were donated to the museum. They needed additional spaces. And that's when they decided to go ahead and build the museum that is underneath it, that is now considered the World War I National World War I Museum and Memorial. And it is the only one in the U.S. There is a World War II Museum and Memorial. I want to say in Pennsylvania, but don't quote me on that. And this is where, if you haven't been to this is laid out so nicely. I'm going to walk the talk. Sorry, I cut the car off. If you want to come in and study weapons, ammunitions, you can go do that part. If you want to study the effects of war, the technology around it, the way technology impacted the war is very, very interesting. There's another article at the London Hall Library that is about that, which I can share that as well if you're interested, because that was a fascinating presentation. And then, let's see, underneath in the basement, there is another section of history, and it was actually a family collection that they donated or lend to the museum, and it's gorgeous, just so much information. My favorite is the postcard or letter exchange between a father and son, and I guess the son ranked pretty high because some of their notes in the letters would be like, hey, I can't tell you where I'm at, but I'm kind of doing this. You know the drill, Dad, because his dad was also in the military too. Kind of interesting. It's a fun story. The dad was an artist, that was the key thing, and he would sketch out in watercolor pictures on the envelopes that were just so cool. So if you get there, make sure you go to the basement and do that part of it. Excuse my sinuses for today. It's spring. So anyway, that's the biggest part of the World War I that I want to tell you about. Definitely encourage you to go see it. There's a lot of information. It's a little heavy because it's war, but it's so well done. So very well done. I'm a big museum buff, and if you know me, I'm picky about my museums. I want the truth. I want it accurately portrayed. There's a lot of them that don't. So come check out this museum when you get a chance. It is a really good one to go see. And let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear it.